my purple headband for summer. Can you see it? It's purple. As soon as I get the money for it, I'm buying purple hair dye. And I'm dyeing my hair purple for summer. And I'll go live. I gotta go grab my charger. My computer's dying. Love you, babe. If I could. Summer was last seen in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County, Tennessee, June 15th of 2021. This is allegedly the last photo taken of her. I want to tear up whenever I watch that. I know I made it, but like, it just makes me want to tear up. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. Hi, who said what? Hey, girl, hey. You're listening while you do some work stuff? Cool, that's what I always do too. I'm always listening to something while I'm working. Hi, Marion. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. Okay, so let's get started. Let me scroll up here. Now this is from Raps Live, from General Awareness from October 20th, 2021. If you go to his page, you can find it. You can easily find it if you just go to YouTube and search Jodi Sue Brown on Raps. It'll pop right up. So, okay, we left off talking about why Jody never shows Summer's picture. Jody says she doesn't want to be part of Tragedy Pimpville by sharing Summer's picture because it very much belongs to Candace. And she thinks that by sharing Summer's picture, and since it belongs to Candace, that makes her a part of Tragedy Pimpville somehow, which I don't really understand how she correlates those two things, to be completely honest. But Jodi has a way of correlating things that don't make sense. Okay? And those things change over time. You'll notice that. You'll catch on to that. And it's not just about Summer's picture, it's about a lot of things. And Jodi says she shares Summer's picture on Facebook, but not on YouTube, because the Tragedy Pimps run Summer's picture on everything, and it kind of makes her want to fucking vomit. Sorry, trigger warning. There's gonna be strong language in this. I should have said that first. But Jodi Sue has a potty mouth, so I'm sorry, but it just is what it is. Those were her exact words. She has some nerve. She actually said Summer's picture on everything, and it kind of makes her want to fucking vomit. That's what you said, Jodi. Those were your exact words. We're trying to find answers for Summer, and it's becoming more and more alarming, the things Jodi Sue says as time goes on, and I dig deeper into things she has said. It makes her more and more suspicious. Then Jodi is asked if Summer has ever walked off before. Jodi says the only time was when she was mad at Candace. She says she then later found out the real reason by Andy saying that Candace had been mean to Summer, causing Summer to run off. At the time, she thought she was just being kind of iffy or whatever. I don't know if she's talking about Candace or Summer being iffy. She says she hadn't wandered off. She was just on the other side of Don's truck. I think Candace called for her maybe 6 to 10 times, and that was quite a while before Summer went missing, says Jodi. She says other neighbors would see Summer come off the ridge or down the bank a little bit, but not onto the roadway. She thinks Summer was kind of told by Don not to be around strangers, but not so much Candace. How does Jodi know what the other neighbors saw? She's telling people what the other neighbors saw. How does she know? She says some people Summer would be shy to, and to other people she'd be like, hi, and talk to people. She says Summer was like that. It just depended on interaction and what mood she was in. She says the neighbor Summer would see that would holler at her when she would see her, when that neighbor would see her out by the road and would holler at her, apparently to like get away from the road. That neighbor was safe for her to be around, says Jodi. Okay. Jodi says Summer wasn't into wandering off. Jodi says Summer didn't go into the woods alone, not to be seen and heard from again. She says there was so much decimation left behind from the woodcutters. Maybe Summer got curious and wandered off a little bit onto the side, onto the main road. But did she wander off in the forest, never to be seen again? Absolutely not, says Jodi. Rap asks, and when I say Rap asks, he's asking questions that his chat is asking. So, just so you know. He asks how Jodi, how long the truck was in Jodi's family. Asking about the red truck. How long was the red truck in Jodi's family? And why did it seem like she was hiding it? Jodi says they all knew from day one that truck was there. Jodi says it's the FBI and TBI guys, and they know about that red truck. She says it was vetted immediately. Jodi gets very triggered by the question from Rap's chat about the red truck, in my opinion. Listen. The red truck nonsense. I keep these short.
The red truck nonsense.
The red truck nonsense. This is from Interview with Jodi Sue Brown on General Awareness.
Almost killed one of my family members that I love very much. Wow. The last time this nonsense was kicked in.
Almost killed one of her family members that she loves very much because she says she has a family member that lives down in Beech Creek.
By Tiffany and BK and all them for a whole week straight there about 3 weeks ago.
So she's blaming, like, she's pretty much putting, like, Chasing Truth, Fizzle, Benny, Tiffany Marie, Scott H, all in this one category, like it's one group that's working together from an office somewhere. That's how she's making it sound.
So please do continue with the red truck bullshit. So I guess somebody can die and Tragedy Pimp Bill can take no responsibility for that.
Well, that's the last.
Wow. So now she's saying, go ahead and continue talking about the red truck, basically to all of us, and it's going to get somebody killed now, apparently.
Last thing that we want. I've known really not much about this case, especially your side.
Conspiracies, narratives, and this much.
He doesn't know that much about this case. Well, talking to her is not the person to learn about it from. I'm sorry, but
force from the public and those who participate in that type of thing very much transfers to our real lives and can cause real life harm to us, and very much does, and puts us at risk, and it is freaking terrible.
So she's saying all this nonsense about the red truck is putting them at risk, and it's just ruining their lives. Well, why is that, Jody? And I would love a actual example of that, Jody says it's not just Summer's case they're messing up, it's other cases too. And no matter what you think of Dawn and Candace, who she calls C and D, whether you think they're guilty or innocent, nobody should have to be tormented and go through that for clicks, likes, and views. Jody says none of these families should be terrorized. She's gaslighting. She says she thinks public interest will always be there, and not just while the case is hot, but police and law enforcement are cutting down on the information they are giving out because of social media. She says it causes too much harassment and slander. Things that she's doing. Yet she is all over YouTube every single day for 1.5 years straight. She said, obviously someone is responsible for June 15th. She says, what if someone says something on social media and doesn't realize what puzzle piece they hold? What lengths would a psycho who would be responsible for June 15th go to get someone who is targeted like Jody and her family? That's what Jody said. She starts talking badly about BK. She says big law enforcement have publicly called him out. I don't know what she's talking about. Jody says BK called in false calls against her. She wasn't driving the car that he said she was, according to her. She says she really honestly wants to see this guy in prison, and she means that sincerely. She is asked if she knows Gene Wishon. She says no, she only met Brad a couple times. She says she doesn't know who Gene is. She does not know him at all. She makes it very clear. She says everyone knows everyone around there, though. She says she has never heard of any of the Wishons before Summer's disappearance besides the Shrek Khan auto sales guy, and that's just because he's so notorious around here. Jody says he's still in jail or prison, she thinks. Didn't she know Brad Wishon before Summer disappeared, though? She says there's all kinds of connections back to others like Scott H. and Linda, and they have connections to Tucker Drywall. They all know each other, she says. So what if they did? Scott used to work at Lowe's with others that are involved, and up on the hill with, it's very weird how Tragedy Pimpville and these players are around here, says Jody. She doesn't finish a sentence. Rapp asks if the trail cams took pics on the 15th. Jody mentions the interview with Detective Pruitt on WJHL where they say they have digital evidence. Jody says law enforcement have everything except the 15th because that was deleted by someone, but not her, allegedly.
Smaller body, a lot more flexible.
Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data.
We have gone through reams and reams of data.
So they've apparently gone through reams and reams of data, so that sounds like more than just trail cams, but definitely including trail cams because they say digital evidence as well and reams of data. I mean, I would imagine that would be their cell phone records, and if they did have any computers, or if, which I don't, did they take a computer? I don't think they did, but they took a camera, which I would imagine that would be included in that too.
We've collected statements. We chased down every credible lead that has been given to us. And we are still not much further along than when we started. Surveillance video.
Unfortunately, they're not much further along than when they started, but at least they are somewhat further along than then and when they started, and hopefully by now they're even inching a little bit more further along, and eventually hopefully we'll have some answers, and maybe they're looking in the same way that we're looking now, and maybe they can finally start to figure something out. But what I'm afraid of is the corruption. What if they don't want to figure something out for a reason? That scares me.
GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we can think of to get our hands on.
Anything that we can think of to get our hands on, he says. So they're thinking that maybe there might be more.
Time continues to pass since that June day. It's increasingly hard to hold on to hope.
9 months later. I would hope that she is still alive somewhere.
I would hope that she is still alive somewhere too.
But we also have to be open to the idea that is no longer a possibility.
I don't want to be open to that possibility. Jody says she's not going to say anything about who deleted the camera footage of June 15th or how, because then whoever has Summer could know, and she thinks it's best if she doesn't talk about it. She says it's something they're trying to pull out of her, the tragedy pimps. Jody says that's something that's very sensitive, although the public is very interested. The locations of who had, who didn't, etc., whatever that means. She says there were trail cams added after Summer vanished. Then she said that's all she will say, and goes on to say the cameras were erased by someone else, not her. She says she did not erase anything. Jody says she has the receipts on reporting it to law enforcement, that the cameras were erased, and Andy has the messages too. Just because you reported it, Jody, doesn't mean you didn't erase it. We all know that. How convenient. Someone knew right where the cameras were and how to access them, and managed to erase them without Jody knowing. Considering how hypervigilant she was that day especially, you'd think she would have known. It was reported to one of the lead detectives that and how the cameras got erased by someone else, Jody says. So, okay, so you do know who erased the cameras, but you're just not going to say. Right. And the new cameras were added, and law enforcement had access to those anytime they wanted them. That was after Summer disappeared. How helpful. Jody says they have it, but it won't be released publicly, which, how does she know that any of the footage will never be released publicly? Did TBI tell her that? Rep asks Jody if she wants to address Tragedy Pimpville. Jody says people need to use common sense. This is not an Andy Griffith show type of thing. She says scent dogs and cadaver dogs were all up there. Son didn't drive. The red truck hadn't been there in forever, she says. Yeah, Son didn't drive. Okay. Hey, Beverly. Hey, Lady R. Good to see you. Yeah, so she's like, Son didn't drive. He says, do you want to address Tragedy Pimpville? And she's like, yeah, people just need to use common sense. The red truck hasn't been there forever, and my son didn't drive it. Okay, that's what you have to say. Good to know. Good to know. That's what you wanted to say. Damien didn't drive.
Look, okay, the main ones, I would just like people to use common sense. There were search dog, cadaver dogs, repeatedly, thousands searching, like just, this is not an Andy Griffith show type of thing. My dogs didn't do anything to anyone, especially Summer.
What? I forgot she said that. She says, my dogs didn't do anything to anyone, especially not Summer. Oh, because she's going to go on to say probably because there would be DNA, there'd be evidence, they would know.
Summer, pretty sure that there'd be evidence that had there been, and y'all need to think, scent dogs and, cadaver dogs wouldn't miss some shit like that. And if the cops thought that important, that would already been, oh, yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
And sun didn't dry.
The way she talks makes me feel sometimes like, what is she on? You know what I mean?
Red truck hadn't been in there forever. And,
so these are the points she wants to make sure that are the most important that she addresses to Tragedy Pimpville.
And also, I'll make this real clear, the first scent dog in there did not stop at my feet to be stopping at my feet. It didn't hit on a scent. The handler was kind of being an ass, and he was...
So the dog did not hit on a scent, she said.
Was mad, and my dogs, 2 of my dogs were down there, and so were everybody else's, and you'll hear Candy.
So what? The guy was mad, so his dog hit on you? That makes a lot of sense.
Interviews and things here on Tragedy Pimpville that we weren't notified. The dogs came in pretty quick, which is, I'll turn back around to that in a second. They come in, there was no, look, we didn't have time to go back and forth, put dogs up and everything else. We were all searching for Summer. We were being interviewed. Had they been like, hey, put the dogs up real quick, the other one's coming, we would have done that. However, my dog...
Yeah, she goes on and on about the dogs. My son just woke up apparently, so I'm gonna have to do a part 3, even though I said part 2 of 2. All right, I gotta go. I'm sorry. BB's awake. I'll be back. Love y'all.